Would you mind maybe start sharing about yourself? What is it you do?
It is the game of life, I think,
Game of life.
generally, because I think people waste way too much time.
What is it you do with those companies? Like, can you...
And if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. That I have some cool cats around me and they need to be high performing, but they need to be fun. What's that value? What's your ROI? Where do we want to go?
We can change it in phase two. It's not important. I'm like, yeah, it is important for me.
I have no idea what's happening. They don't know up from down. These late adopters, so this last 30% of your company, will never get on board unless...
It was like using 7 different softwares from 7 different companies.
So I do really recommend everyone to double down in their business and have a look at what...
Thank you very much, Kristina, for coming to my podcast. Would you mind maybe start sharing about yourself? What is it you do so we can get to know you a little bit more?
Absolutely, Vincent. Thank you for having me on your show. Well, I have spent the better half of my life leading people below me, above me, and to the side. I deliver big transformation projects within businesses, and I worked with small businesses, medium and very large global enterprises to do some generally technology transformation. And that's seen me deliver over $250 million in business value. I host Transforming the Game podcast, which is I really enjoy, and I'm a keynote speaker.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's impressive. You said $250 million?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Some big projects.
Wow. Very nice. And so you mentioned game podcast. Was that like
Transforming the Game.
Transforming the Game. So
that's what the podcast is called.
Okay. So is it like a game of business or?
It is the game of life, I think,
Game
generally. So
Mm-hmm.
how I like people who are very interesting, who double down on their craft. I find people super fascinating and frustrating all at once. And my mantra generally is that people are your superpower. And I'm all about helping people either find more time. You know, that's your biggest commodity really, is the time you've got. And I just love experiences. So people who have really lived their life have got something to give back, and I'm about the ripple effect and, you know, how you can pay it forward. So when people have something fascinating and interesting, I love to have a chat and see what it's about and see if they can pay it forward.
Yeah, that's amazing. How long are you already doing that podcast?
Not that long, so under a year for the podcast. I've just sort of kicked that off, but it's been a lot of fun and I'm really enjoying it. It's getting some momentum.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to the podcast, like to really meet people. Like obviously we are both part of the insiders with JT folks. I don't know how long you are a member. I just joined, to be honest, this year. What about yourself? Like how long are you a member?
Member of the Insider for 6 months, and I've been in the ecosystem probably a year. But I've met some amazing people there from all around the world, are really driven, and it's really nice when you find a lot of people that are just sort of your people, your community that you can bounce off or ask questions, and it's a really fun place to be sometime, and you get some pretty cool experiences too, which is, I'm just about having fun. So as long as it's fun and enjoyable, I stick around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I think it's that's what I was very happy that a lot of people, they mentioned that they want to come for the podcast, is because the thing is, like you mentioned, you live in Australia, I live in Scotland. So before I'm gonna meet you in person, it's gonna be a while, maybe on the Mega Success or somewhere. And this is a good way to actually get to know each other. So I like the podcast for that reason too. So I can really find out.
Absolutely. And as I was saying, I do love Edinburgh. It's one of my favorite places, and I've got a lot of great core memories from living in Edinburgh, from the people and the work and just the location. And I didn't even freeze to death because I like the heat. I'm a Queenslander in Australia, but it's a beautiful place and the people are lovely.
That's amazing. So you mentioned about you are doing the transformations projects for businesses, like a smaller, bigger, and very big enterprises.
Yep.
So, and you also pointed out like a technology driven, like the transformation is regarding technology, like what kind of technologies, like how what is it you do with those companies? Like, can you
Yeah, it's
more specific?
sometimes it's hard to explain. But so what I can do is I've been involved with a lot of different technology, but in general, how I like to explain it is, let's say I can come in and there's a big program of work, or you need to, like when I say transformation, it's changing the ways of working in a particular technology that you're using. This could be anything from core systems to the network and infrastructure, to even like applications and like consolidating what we'd call tech debt. So a lot of companies sometimes, like let's talk startups, if we talk about maybe who might be listening, and you start up and you grab this application because it might do your finance, you grab this one and you might do some scheduling, and this one is going to do your marketing, and this one you put your people in your database, and all of a sudden you've got this mismatch of things and nothing's talking, nothing's integrating, you can't get any dashboards. And if
Hmm.
you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you can't manage it, how do you grow?
Yeah.
So from there, I like to come in, and this is the system in the tech side, and you can look at just how everything is talking and operating. Like I said, I'm a bit of a time alchemist. So if you're wasting time or your people are wasting time on redundant work or work that is repetitive that can actually be done by a system, done by AI, done by technology, you get all that time back. If you can get productivity back, then you can actually do higher value work. You do higher value work, your business can scale, it can grow, and we can get you
Mm.
to where you want. So that's sort of one pillar. My other side I'm big on, and this is usually what I get asked to speak on, because as I said, people fascinate and frustrate me, but I'm a big advocate that people are your superpower. I love to work out what makes people tick, and then to get really high performing teams going and going at a cadence that they didn't know they
Mm.
could, sort of like little athletes, if you like. So
Mm.
I'm big on looking at your team culture, my team culture, and any team I'm in. It's really, really important that I have some cool cats around me, and they need to be high performing, but they need to be fun, right? Like, I don't know about you, but day in and day out, you go to work. This is where 70% of your life is spent. You don't want to be around people who are a drag and people who just have a
Mm.
problem for every solution. You want people who are on the same train as you, and you're looking to the same thing. And so it's about creating that culture and creating that team and creating that um, momentum, and so that you're excited to get up in the morning. So
Mm.
it's sort of your two sides there.
Mm. Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much for sharing. Like you mentioned about like what we don't measure, we don't manage. It just reminded me Tony Robbins is a business master because they are sharing that a lot there. I've done a lot of events with Tony Robbins, and it was like, what do you don't measure, you don't manage. So you need
So
to
there you go. See,
so you need to
it is
know.
a renown. If you,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true. And it's also about with that, um, you get sometimes, and you've got to be careful of these, and I call them like the great showmen in the workplace, who are really good at managing up, but they might just be giving you a lot of bells and whistles, but are they measuring the right thing? Are they measuring? So you've got to measure the needle moving metrics. And I always say, to any leader, or when I'm doing a speech, I'm always like, what's your one UQ? So what's your one ultimate question that is going to, if you think about when you're like pulling a string out of a ball and then you unravel the entire thing, what's one thing, if you're a true leader and you really want success, don't be afraid to ask that one ultimate question that will unravel everything, to know whether the people are presenting you garbage or whether they're giving you truth.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on that note, what you mentioned, so with the having fun, having the right people, having the culture, I think it's very important. I'm just actually in our laundrette in Edinburgh, and we were just hiring some new cleaners to clean our holiday lets, and I have these two new cleaners, and they're complaining. They just started, they're just complaining, and
Right.
I'm like, I don't need that around me. I'm like, I need people with
Mm-hmm.
a good attitude. So I was like giving them a chance. Like, you either change that attitude, you'll do what is asked for, and we can be a good team, or you are out of the team, because yes, they can clean, but it's not everything. And if the attitude is not right, it's just all the other team members are gonna feel that, and it's not gonna go well. So yeah, I think.
Yep. So negativity and low performing workers generally will bring productivity down like 35%, whereas your positives will only bring it up about 15 or 20. So negativity is more contagious than the positive workers. So if you do have those negative people in your workplace, it's really important to, depending how you want to approach it, you can either cut them fast, or you have the conversation and go, you know, how can I help? What's going on in your life? You know, get them on the why of what, like, and give them some value. But to be honest, if they're just a negative Nancy and they're just like, every time you see them, you feel like that heaviness in your chest going, oh, I'm going to have to talk to, you know, sulky Sandy, move them on.
It's not worth it. Yeah. It's good to give them a chance, like you mentioned, to talk with them. But if nothing is changing, which very often is not, because people are who they are. So it's difficult to sometimes change people. But I remember when I used to be working in the restaurant, was there as a waiter, later a supervisor, and I know I'm foreigner in this country. So I mean, because I travel in here, so obviously I want to work. But obviously a lot of people who live in here, they don't work as hard. And when I could see, like, some people would come to work and they would have this negative energy, and the whole team was getting more negative because they would be chatting with them, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, whatever the owners are saying, that doesn't matter. We can do it this way. And everybody was confused, and you can see the whole energy of that kind of day when the person was on the shift was going down. I was like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, see, you can see it, you can feel it, and I guarantee you, if you were measuring the right metrics when they were on, you would see a decrease in your sales and everything on those days. Even probably people calling in sick or leaving early and things like that. Everything changes, and people are your superpower. Anything in business or even in your corporate career, people around you. It's very important to be leading a positive team or helping people and motivating them.
Perfect. And with the when you mentioned about the technology, like you come to the business, and I can imagine it because I use in the business a lot of different applications and softwares. And basically, what is it you do? You help them to build that internal software which manages it all, or you help them to integrate it together? What's the kind of the outcome of?
Depends what the like where the company is at, how mature they are technically. You know, I mean, you could really go down a rabbit hole here, but from their data governance to their data security, their cyber security is really important, to all the applications, how they integrate, where they sit, and what it looks like, right? So you can look at the entire ecosystem of their technology, like I said, in the maturity, and see what could be improved. But what I'm really good at, because I'm not, say, a domain architect at all. I've been around technology for quite a number of years, I think 10 plus years now. But what I'm really good at is translating. So what's the business value? What do you need to get out of it? What's that value? What's your ROI? Where do we want to go? And then I get the techie and the smart people that sometimes aren't really good at translating, aren't really good at that social interaction. And I get them motivated, moving, and translate what they are going to do to the business and the assets. And I keep everyone on track. Hence why I need to motivate people who are not only under me in a team, but they'll be to the right, because they'll be stakeholders, they'll be senior executives, they may be above me, but I need to keep everyone on track. I need to keep everyone at a cadence that is faster than what generally you will work in your day-to-day in the business. Because what you don't want, what no business should want, so be aware of this, is getting these tech people or whatever in and them dragging out a project, because I've seen it done time and time again where people don't get the right delivery people in, and these tech projects in particular can blow out because either they didn't understand what the deliverables was, there was too much scope creep, which means the original thing that you want to deliver, and then all of a sudden it's added and added. It's almost like a renovation in a house, right? You start and you're like, I just want to paint this and do a bathroom, and next thing you know, oh, while I've done the bathroom, let's just paint this, let's just extend this, oh, we'll do this, let's fix the gutters. The next thing you know, your variations are through the roof, and you're blaming the builder's blaming you, but really it just didn't have the right structure and governance around it.
Yeah, it happened to me. It happened to me.
Point in case
Yeah.
with the
Just,
house.
yeah, no, no,
Well,
I mean with the house as well, but because I'm in the property business, but in with the tech thing, because we wanted to develop a software of our own, like a booking platform, because we do have the holiday
amazing.
let. And the
Yep.
guys I was dealing with them, they deal the digital marketing guys. They're like, okay, are you able to do that? And they spoke with them team. Yes, we can do that. They said the project will take maximum 6 months. This is how much it's gonna cost. Took 1 year and 4 months,
Oh,
and I pay them like 60% of what I supposed to pay them. The rest should be at the end. And the project still wasn't finished, and I couldn't use it. So I spoke with someone else, and I just like, okay, whatever, don't continue. So I just wasted £6,000 for this particular thing, and not doing it with them anymore.
mm.
So yeah, it's and after they said,
It's
especially they said,
scary.
it's like, okay, this needs to be done. And they said like, no, this we were gonna do in the phase two. And I'm like, what phase two? I mean,
Where's
like,
phase two wasn't in my budget, mate.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, but this is normal. Like, I asked them for a simple thing, like, why the cancel button is green? Why the cancel button needs to be red? It needs to be
Yeah,
visible, like on eye. Why
yeah.
is it green? We can change it in phase two. It's not important. I'm like, yeah, it is important for me because it
I
makes
don't
sense.
like
I
that.
mean, I wouldn't think to put a green on it. So
Yeah, and the changing, see that, and that's what happens. It's either sometimes I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes they're just downright a little bit conniving and dodgy because they know that the people they're dealing with 9 times, 8 times out of 10, they don't speak the language. So what
yeah,
they do, and I find with tech people, is sometimes they've lived like, they might have been the little smarties at school but didn't have the social skills, so they're now in their ego place where they're like speaking and people don't understand what they're saying. But where I can come in is I'm pretty direct with, well, I've learned, I know enough in the tech world now where I can sniff out enough BS, but there's I'm not afraid to go, I don't understand. And when you have that middle person, because if you, like the person who has the purse strings says,
mm,
I don't get it, they're going ka-ching, ka-ching. Whereas I
yeah,
can like ask enough probing questions to then go, okay, I get it. And this is how it works. Or when they're pulling, especially when the schedule's going out, no, go faster, do it. What's your blocker? You like, I don't take the excuses. I find out why can't you deliver? And they'll say it's X, right, I'll go and unblock that right away. You've got
mm,
no excuse now, off you go. But
yeah,
it's a like I say, it's a different cadence. It's a different way of working for most businesses, and too many try and do it in their day to day. And you've got too much going on. And sometimes you don't want to be, the people in the business don't like or don't understand or haven't had to be that disruptor. Let's call it that. And sometimes that's what a business needs. They need someone to come in, disrupt the ways of working so that you can get on new cadence. And then the key and the secret sauce to any of this is the adoption, which most 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, people miss. They
mm,
miss doing the right adoption, which is about, because you need, if you're going to do a branding, a rebranding, if you're going to do a technology ways of working change, if you're going to do a restructure, the adoption of your people who are the engine for your life and your business, if they're not on board from the start, if they don't feel empowered, if they don't feel like they were a part of the journey, you're going to lose them. You're going to have an uproar. You're going to have like a stampede. So that's actually a secret, that where if you can get them on board and make them feel felt, heard, seen, appreciated, and you're pre-framing this. You're pre-framing this well in advance of knowing what changes you're going to make. And then I love the bell curve of the adoption. You'll get people on board faster. You'll be working more efficiently. Everything will integrate, and it will be a lot more seamless than if all of a sudden you're doing change after change after change and people are going, I have no idea what's happening. They don't know up from down. So
mm,
adoption.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can see that like even with a simple softwares with we, for example, introduced to our in our company, like, okay, use this software. If you have any issues, you can upload the photos, tell us, because after somebody in our management, they will see that, and after we can work on that. And
Yep.
like some people are just like too bothered to just use it. And I'm like, yeah, but if you don't use it, it's not gonna be good for us because we need to know. And some people, they are easy. They are like, yeah, I'll just use it, no problem. But some people find it as a big problem, even if it take a little bit of time. But yeah, it's like if people don't adopt, it's a little bit useless, right? So
Yeah, and if they don't adopt, you don't get your return on investment that you probably initially um, created, and that's the reason you're bringing in this new technology, this new software. And if they're not using it to the full extent, which happens so much, you see it all the time, and I see it like all the time, that people don't fully adopt and get the most out of it, and it is some wasted money. But with your adoption, there's always, as you said, there's some, in general, like if people want to take this away of when they're looking at their company to do a change, the bell curve of the adoption to get anyone in your company over the line. So you're going to have about, I think it's 3% your innovators. They're going to jump on when you say, I've got something shiny. They're like, I'm here, I'm in. They've probably already researched it and they are with you by your side. Then you get your early adopters and your majority, right? So your early adopters is about 13%. So until you get your first 20%, and they're going to be there, but what happens is a company usually tries and gets 100% over the line, and you spend all your time on what we call the laggers, the last 16%, and then the late adopters, and you're spending time wasting. These late adopters, so this last 30% of your company, will never get on board unless someone else has done it already. So if you focus on your innovators and your early adopters, so that first like 20-30%, you get them on, they get excited, they're going to ripple effect and bring everyone else on, and then they're all going to come, and it's a herd adoption. So if you do that, you get the herd. As soon as you hit the bell curve at a certain point, it tips. Majority come on board, late adopters come on board, and then the laggers, for me, in a company, they get on board and they drop the attitude and they have to learn, or they're out of your company, because that's just showing you who's not going to keep up with you. In my opinion, that might be a bit harsh, but if you want to be innovative, if you want to move at a scale, your laggers are the ones in your company you should constantly be, your company will constantly be churning, right? They'll be going, more people will drop to that, they'll churn, you keep trying to get more A players.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's good. You also mentioned about the valuation, like this is where you kind of step in. You are speaking with the companies, like, okay, where do we want to get? And based on the softwares, it just reminded me. I was listening the podcast. What's his name? He's having this channel, the Value Entrepreneur David Bet. He's not very known in USA, and he was sharing about he had this insurance company and he wanted to sell it. And when he went to value it, they would give him like, I don't know, I'm just gonna be making things up because I don't remember. It's like 6 multiple on this company, and
Okay.
because he was like using 7 different softwares from 7 different companies, and they said like, yeah, if you would have something yours, which the company owns, like your internal software, like a technology, then your multiple would go higher. So they
Yeah, the
invested a
IP.
lot of money into it, and they put like 6. I'm not sure if all of them, but I think most of them into one of their internal software. They build it from scratch with a lot of money, but suddenly their multiple went like double than they would do. It took them maybe 2 years to do that, but it's like
Yeah.
just having your own software in the company
Mm-hmm.
is really, I think, really important because like myself, like we have a management company for holiday lets, and we have like so many softwares. There's like a channel manager. There is like a price labs, which is dealing with the prices. After there is a software for maintenance and cleaners. After obviously we need to have a scheduling software. After another software for I don't know what. Like there is like I made the circle after in our board in the office, like so many softwares we use and how much we pay monthly. I'm like, if somebody would just build it for us, all of it together, then we could just have that one
That
software,
would
right?
be.
But it's just the point of the time, like where our company is and how much that would cost to develop, and if we are actually in that stage to be able to afford it at the moment, right?
Yeah, it is a catch. Like you say, that for you, you've got a lot going on there, and if there was one, it'd be pretty valuable. To merge everything and to manage your own software is costly, right? It's
Mm.
not cheap. One, it's a very big capital cost just to put in initially, but then it's also a pretty big OpEx cost to ongoing keep it and do all the patching and make sure that it stays updated. And then when there's vulnerabilities with your cyber, like all of these things that if you're not a tech company, then you're going to rely on your developers forever to keep that up to date. So there's a big cost. So it does depend on the size of the company. But if you do have things everywhere, and it does pay to look at the different softwares out there, because there is a lot of good stuff out there, and the way technology is going, the way AI is going, the way the trajectory is scary on. So I do really recommend everyone to double down in their business and have a look at what technology can use and what AI can replace. Because if you're putting your head or thinking, oh, I'm a service business and it won't affect me, I guarantee you it will. And honestly, the trajectory is really, I don't know how to use a different word, but it is quite frightening of where it's going to take everyone. And so I do believe in 5 years' time, the jobs that you didn't think would be affected will be affected. Now, I'm not saying everyone's out of a job. What I'm saying is be smart about it now and have a look at your job. And there's a movie when they go to space, and it's about the black women, and they learn the machine, because they bring in this machine. They were all the data analysts in NASA. And then this machine comes in and it can do all the data analysts. And instead of them going, well, we're out of a job. I wish I could remember that name. So everyone would post it on your comments when they're going to go, it's this. They go and learn how to work the machine. They go and learn how to be the mechanics and everything for the machine. And so they become more valuable than anyone else, because they're the only ones who know how to use this new machine. That's what everyone needs to do, is double down on what it is. Now, if AI is going to come in, learn that side of things. And if AI is going to replace it altogether, work out what it is, because there always needs to be a human element. It just is going to be, it could be different to what you're doing now. But I'm not about scared. There's always jobs for someone somewhere. It just might not be what you were always doing. So just don't get your head out of the sand if you're one of those, because don't wait for the decision to be made. Be proactive there, I'll say, because technology is amazing. That's why I've done it for so long. I get fascinated with the transformation you see in businesses. I get fascinated with people who are working really hard, and I'm like, you think you're working hard, I'm going to make you work more efficiently. I'm going to make you work faster, and it's not going to be harder. You're actually going to get more done in less time and work on more higher value things, because technology is pretty cool out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We have now JT Fox AI brain.
Exactly. There's these AI brains that are coming out where, JT's brain is reading. So what that does, for people who don't know, it's reading all of his IP. So all of his coaching that he's had, he spends tens of millions of dollars on coaching and courses and things like that, on branding and everything he does to build his 9-figure empire. And then it taps into that. So that's what this AI does. It will tap into that. So you can say, well, how would JT do this? How would he do marketing? And so that's why it's so valuable to be able to do that. And, so it's not just going out to the World Wide Web. It's staying within your thing. But another thing with all the AI, and always just be aware of, there's more and more, and there's a lot of cowboys out there. So you do ask the questions, don't be of where is my data stored? What language model is it teaching? And that what I mean by that, for people might not understand, is when you put in some information and questions, or if you put in confidential information, be careful with that with your business. Are you training an external model, which means external people are accessing that now? So just ask those questions or have a look at that.
Yeah. It's a good point. When I was having a meeting with my lawyer about our company, my note taker, the Fathom, just obviously entered itself just for taking notes. And he asked me, you okay, your note taker to be here? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay if you are okay with it. And he said, yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of research on Fathom. I mean, they store your data in USA. There is this whatever. I mean, the data and everything. I've done a lot of research on that, like he said, and I feel it's okay, but it's just your things. We are talking about your business, so you need to be comfortable with it the most. So if you are good, so I'm like, yeah, good. But it's good that he actually knew about it already and have done some research, because he could tell me this one is actually not very legit. Let's not use that one, and we would shut it down. So was actually good to know.
And a lot of those ones, especially the non-legit ones, are very good at creeping in. So, and I feel like a lot of people, I do see some general meetings where their note takers pop up, and I'm like, do you even use that? Like, do you take notes from it, or is it just attached, which
Yeah,
means it's gathering your data and you're not doing anything. You don't even use it. So turn it off. Like,
yeah,
turn it
yeah.
off. A lot of companies, well, in companies, you'll never, they get, a lot, especially enterprises, they will shut down every note taker because you don't want any of that. For
Mm,
bigger companies, will ban all of those. So medium companies, I would suggest do the same, and small companies, to be honest, I would suggest do the same.
absolutely. Yeah. Good. And I was interested to hear if you can maybe mention, like you also said about that you are doing keynote speaking, you are going to different events. How did you get into this? Like how did it all?
Yeah, how did I get into it? I guess I just started putting myself out there a little bit more, as uncomfortable as it is, on social media, and started talking a little bit more. And then I did the leading leaders with BHP, which was really fun, which was teaching people who are about to step up into the leadership role. And
Okay.
about, maybe they've gone from being the doer and the star of the show, but now they're about to step up and become leaders there. And it's just that transition, the transition of mindset, the transition of how you approach things, how you see things, thinking more strategically. And from there, just here and there, from, I guess, what you do on socials, and you get out there more, people seem to be coming to me more on leadership and culture is a
Mm-hmm.
big one, on how to motivate teams, how to, like I say, people are your superpower. So I was having a debate with someone recently. He'd been in his company for 17 years from a grad. So he was a lifer. He's going to be a lifer, and a lot of people are. I have moved to more companies than that, but he's a lifer. And there was a policy that had come about, and I was told that you had to get into a certain level, you had to have been in the company for 2 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I challenged it, playing devil's advocate, because I was like, the right person comes along. If they haven't been in the company for 2 years, are they disadvantaged and they have to sit and wait? Because I'm about people moving up the corporate ladder. I talk about that a lot. I've got a lot of blogs on that, about how you move up, how you negotiate the work you want. And because he's a bit of a lifer, he thought that was fair, because he's like, well, hang on, I've done my time. I've been here for 17 years. I deserve that next rung in the ladder to move up. And I'm like, I'm not denying that you don't, but what I'm saying is the right person should get the job. And if
Yeah.
you've been in the company 1 year, but you have lots of other experience, and you are a groundbreaking people leader, and you can take the company to the next level and where they want to go, then having to wear the shackles and do their time, you're going to lose high performers like that, because they're going to go, I'm not going to stick around for another
Yeah.
year just to go to that next level, because I, in 2 years time, plan to be in five levels time. And
Yeah.
so it was an interesting conversation about perception, perspective, leadership, growing your company, the people in the right spot. And it's just conversations like that, really, where depending who you're talking to, and then go talk to teams and things like that about how to grow, how to
Mm-hmm.
create the right culture, because culture is king.
Mm-hmm. And so what kind of events do you usually go? Is it like to companies who they hire you?
Yeah, so sometimes Chamber of Commerce things, charity events. There's also been, and going to be, actually, I'm invited to a annual health providers conference.
Mm-hmm.
Again, lots of smarties in that room. So just people like that. A university, they've got business students coming, going to go talk to them
Mm-hmm.
and talk to them about what it takes to do a startup, or what's the mindset, or what it's really like in the business entrepreneurial world. And it's not all
Mm-hmm.
shiny pennies and rainbows. It's a bit of hard work. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's a range. It's a range. Universities, companies, yeah, Chamber of Commerce, big
Mm-hmm.
global companies, and then business events like Mega Success. I was speaking on Mega Success last November,
Have
so
you?
it's on the same stage as Kevin Costner, Rick Hoffman,
Um,
and had some cool people there.
Are you planning to speak also in the Sydney Opera as you are living in Australia?
I won't be, but I'm definitely going to be at that event. So I won't be speaking at that one, but I will be there
Are you
to
coming also for
listen and
the Mega Success in November?
pardon.
Are you coming to Mega Success in November again?
Yes, I'll be there.
Yeah, perfect. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's so easy to chat with you. You have so much to
Yeah.
you can see you are a speaker, which is great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I think we need to do, if you ever want, we can do part two, where we can also ask you a little bit more about your background, actually, how you started and how you get to that level where you are, because a lot of people, I think, who are more like listeners, they are maybe on the starting points. Would it be maybe one thing you would share at the end with someone who might be struggling, or I don't know, they might be already in business, or maybe they are thinking, or like you said, like it's not only, easy peasy, making money, but it's actually a lot of hard work. Would it be
Mhm.
some kind of advice you would give to someone, like would really help you to overcome a lot of different challenges, like something which kept you going on that journey?
Something that's kept me going. I think making sure that I am, because it is hard. Some days you have down days and you're just like, what am I doing? And then some days, and just it can be the very next day, you're like on fire and powering through things. So um, just acknowledge those feelings and emotions that you're feeling, that it's a hard day. And that's if it was easy, everyone would do it. And I know that's what a lot of people say, but it's really true. Uh, Go back to your why. Why are
Mm,
you doing it? And if you're not clear on that, then write it out. I've got a process that I do with people in my career advisory part that I do, and it maps out their corporate why and their corporate purpose and their corporate values, as well as their personal. But where I hone in there is the why do they want to get there, and is their personal values aligning with their career and professional values? Because if you are feeling really lost, you may have deviated a little bit, and which is fine because you've got to change it, but maybe you've gone way off course that you went, actually this isn't who I want to be. So I'm big on your rocking chair moment. So have a moment to go, if I was in my rocking chair, this moment I'm stressing about right now, is this something I'm going to be remembering? Probably not. Is
yeah.
this something that is going to really affect me in the long term? Probably not. So
Mm,
now maybe I go, okay, I feel a bit shitty, but I'm going to acknowledge it and let it go. Or I go, actually, this is really important. I need to pivot, or I need to stay on course and go harder. And do I seek coaching? Where do I seek help from? Ask for help, ask for advice, and speak to someone. Like you don't have to do it alone. Entrepreneurs or even people struggling feel like they're alone, and you're not. You just got to find your people. Your people are out there. I promise you, everybody has people. They have a community, and you can find them, but you do have to you have to be brave enough to put yourself out there. So that would be my advice: is make sure that you're on, like you go back on your why and you know it.
perfect. Thank you very much for sharing, Christina. It was a pleasure to
Thank
have
you.
you on this podcast. Thank you so much.
It's been some fun. It's been some fun.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Vincent.